Yo, welcome back. This is Stu42 with another Minecraft video. So today we're going to do yet more bee things, but it's a little bit of a break from what we're doing with the genetic stuff. Still kind of on the same path, but we need to take a break at the moment because we can't really do the next step of this until we manage to make ourselves an alveary. The reason for that is when you scan, well, we've scanned some traits already, but when you go to inoculate a bee, you can't actually inoculate a bee anymore. You need to inoculate these things, the larvae of the bees. So in order to get larvae, you need to build an alveary. In order to get an alveary, you need to build, Imperial and Industrious bees. So I've been slowly breeding through Majestic and Nobles are done, although I don't really need them anymore, through to these guys, the Imperials. So that's the first stable Imperial that I've got from there. And these ones are the Industrious, and they're already stable. So Industrious give us this Pollen, and the Imperial give us the Royal Jelly. Now let's just see which ones I got. Not quite. See, they're not quite good stack yet. See how they're different between the active and the inactive, which means they're not quite stable yet. They need to be sort of the same on both. See, that's the same on both active and inactive, so that's good. This one is, yeah, so we're still not quite there yet. So let's throw one of those back, and I might save that one just in case. Alright, so what I'm going to do this time is we're going to do a bit of setup in terms of getting these automatically set so that they can produce our pollen and produce our royal jelly, and to do that we're going to need to also make some frame automation as well. So the impregnated frames, which are these guys, made from impregnated sticks, which is Carpenter and seed oil. Now, to get the seed oil, what I've done is we've got our big sort of farm up here. Now that one over there is melons, and at the moment we're using the seeds from that to make a different sort of plant oil. That's what we need for the biofuel. But what we're going to do is I'm going to separate some of those out because I think that farm's going to be big enough to do both. So rather than making a whole other farm, I've got an actual ender chest over there, and it should be this one, I think. So if I put this down, yep, filled with melon seeds. Cool. So the blue, white, blue ender chest we're going to use. I'm going to make myself some more of this sort of stuff. So this is where I had the ender chest just to make the first bit of seed oil to go in here. So I'm going to manually make some of the first frames. But what I'll do is I'll probably, I don't know, I'm going to need probably more than one squeezer. So I've got a few sturdy casings already made to make some squeezers. I'll try and do it without applied energistics. I think I'm just going to dump the frames into another ender chest, get an automatic crafting thing. We will, however, need to dump string somehow from the applied energistics into that. So I'm going to run away and get a few more things together, and then we'll find a spot to put this so that we can have some frame production, and then we'll look at automating those two apiaries so that we can get some of the pollen and royal jelly. So see you in just a bit. So, as I am prone to do, I have changed my mind with how I'm going to do this. I did a lot of looking and thinking about how I'm going to get these frames made without using applied energistics, and none of the ways seemed terribly robust. So, by that I mean you could automatically craft the frames with something like the cyclic assembler, which is probably, the fastest way of doing it. But unfortunately, because it's only got one inventory in it, if anything goes wrong with putting either string or wood in there, or the impregnated sticks, it could end up being just completely filled with the other, and then the whole thing grinds to a halt. So I've carved out this little hole here, and I've decided that we are going to use applied energistics for this, sort of, so only for a couple of bits. So we're going to have this chest being the incoming for our melon seeds. I've got some power already set up there. We have our smart cable down the bottom there. What I'm going to do is we'll set a squeezer up, probably there, and then we'll have some item ducts. So the item ducts can be along the top. So I'll leave space for a few more squeezers because we really want to ramp this up later on. So, well, maybe even 8 squeezes, because moving this later on is going to be a bit of a pain. We'll have fluid duct, underneath. So this will put the fluids out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then this end one will be where the Carpenter goes. Awesome, so that leaves us space. I can make some more if these end up too slow, which I'm pretty sure they will be. Melon sleds are not the fastest thing in the world to make. So we'll run. Now we're not going to need this cable until all the way down the end. So let's run it all the way to there potentially. Let's grab too many things in my imagery. Let's make this look a bit prettier. Cool, and now we need some energy. Let's put some energy down to here. Cool, now I've got some of the stuff we need. So we need an import bus. So this will grab the things back up when they're done. And I'm going to use an interface on the top. Now I did a little bit of preparation work here. Oh, what am I doing? Why is that pressing on the interface? Oh, there we go. Cool. Awesome. So what we're going to do is I'm going to actually make this interface. I've already made this pattern saying 2 impregnated stick with 2 jungle wood. Now what that means is whenever we need 2 impregnated sticks, it's going to throw the 2 jungle wood in there. This will make the 2 impregnated sticks, and it'll drag it back out through the import bus. So let's just quickly, I'm not going to set this to output yet, so let's just grab some through and make sure. Did we get some? Come on. Ah, nope, that won't work until we we've got to have an output there and an output there. So we'll turn this one on. There we go. Cool, so that is there and ready with some seed oil. 100 seed oil, cool. Now, I did have some sticks already made up, so let's just... So we've got 250. So if I just middle click on that, let's just say we want 6 to make it nice 256. Next, yep, so 6 of them to craft 6, yep, go. And then if we run over here, 6 of them. Ah, but I haven't made the pattern yet. Cool, so when the pattern's in there, the pattern will always stay even when these are gone. There are 2 gone, another 2 gone, and if we go down here and click on this, oh, don't know why that's still crafting. There we go, 2, and that should automatically disappear once they come through. And yep, did. So it did. It just took a long while for that import bus. I may have to add an acceleration card to that import bus to make it a little bit quicker at pulling those things back out. But that looks like it could be a pretty good setup. Now, the next thing we're going to need to do is we're going to put, and I've made a couple of these chests here. So blue, white, black. Now this is where we're going to put the finished frames. So what I will do there is we'll have an export bus. Yep, grab one of those. Oh, actually, before we do this, we are going to need to turn this on. This is working well enough for me, so let's throw a bunch of seeds in there and get that seed oil crafting. So we've got an export bus. We're going to need a crafting card. Now the other thing that I've added in here is I've actually added in the impregnated frames. So I am able to make them. So if I just craft one of those, yep, it should make that for me. Now I've got patterns in here for the impregnated frames and for the string out of 3 cotton, because we do have a cotton farm upstairs. So that should be everything we need to make frames automatically. And if I now grab my export bus, let's put the crafting card in there and say, look, make an impregnated frame. We'll throw one in there. Now, the reason I'm going to use this with an ender chest is, well, there's a couple of reasons. 1, we can get it out to wherever we need it to be. And 2, frames take up a single slot. Now, by using this as a sort of buffer, I mean, at the moment we've got a bunch of impregnated sticks made, so this will be pretty fast at making these frames. But if you end up pulling a frame out of here and it has to replace it, it's going to have to make 8 of these sticks in here. And as you saw, those 8 sticks took quite a while to make. So what will hopefully happen is that, you know, an Alveary or an Apiary will pull 3 of these frames out, leaving 3 slots. And then by the time this catches up and makes, you know, enough sticks to replace them, you know, we won't have pulled any more out. So this should be enough of a buffer. Later on, I mean, if we do end up doing lots and lots and lots of bees, then, you know, we might find that lots of apiaries are able to pull all of these frames out faster than we can make them. But I think for these first 2, at least for the Imperial and Industrious, I don't think we're ever going to use this buffer up. But like I said, I think we're going to need some acceleration cards. And they can be on, yep, import-export bus. How do you make them, actually? Fluix with an advanced, oh yeah. I do actually have some of these cards as well, so I might just make a couple of them now. 1, 2. Actually, you know what, let's double stack them, seeing as they're not super expensive. Let's put 2 of those in there. And 2 of those in there. Now this should hopefully just make it go a bit faster. Oh, doesn't seem to be much faster. We're already up to the bit where we need to make some impregnated sticks. Right, so let's see how fast. Yeah, look at that. Those 8 disappeared. Oh, and the 2 disappeared really quickly. Cool. So those acceleration cards are working really well. And we're full already. Okay, so it just took a while for those acceleration cards to be recognized, but now we're good. Now we are good, and we have, yeah, I don't know why that has shoved a bunch of jungle wood in there. We're out of seed oil. And that's full already, so I'm not entirely sure what is going on with that. It still wants to make another 18 of these. Right, I'm going to cancel that because I don't think it needs them. That might have just been a hiccup with the fact that we had only just put the export bus in there. Anyway, that is good enough for me now. I might make another couple of squeezers because, as you can see, that one squeezer is not catching up. It is a bunch of tin around the sturdy casing. So let's grab some tin. Let's grab that many. And we'll go 1, 2, 3. Now these should all, yep. So this is now filling up pretty nicely. We should get this happening a lot faster. Now this is just going to make a bunch of these sticks. The sticks will end up in our applied energistics system for a while, but that's okay. There's something that's wrong. We're going to need, well, we're going to need a ton of servos. So they can be ignored, they can be ignored, and that can be ignored. There we go, full, and that one will fill up in a second. Now that should be filling up. Yeah, so it's still, 4 of them aren't quite fast enough to keep up with the Carpenter going full speed. So as you can see, it's pretty close. It gets to 100, and then it makes one, and then zap down to 30 again. So, and that 30 is getting lower and lower and lower. Wow. 30, 40, yeah, down to 50. Cool. All right, so anyway, I think maybe another couple of squeezes might offset that one Carpenter. The Carpenter seems to be so much more fast, or so much faster, sorry. Now, I'm not quite ready to set these up, so I've pulled out my Majestics and my Nobles. I have my Imperial Queen running there, and that is now stable. Let's just sleep through the night. The Industrial is as well, but the problem I'm going to run into, they're both in daylight here. I might just set them out. I see I've manually put some frames into there. And yeah, I don't need these anymore. Oops. I've got this here. I kept finding that these butterflies kept dying, or the butterflies and moths kept dying and dropping this pollen. So I put this vacuum chest here to collect the pollen just to see what I got, and it's doing pretty well. I get silver birch, some jungle pollen, dark oak, yeah, just in case I want to do tree beating later on. Alright, so I'll be back in just a moment. I'm going to need to gather up a bunch of stuff. If you're wondering what the purple stuff is, these Imperials have the beatific effect, which is this, regeneration. So you get a nice little regeneration buff out of the Imperial bees. I'll be back in just a moment. I need to gather up some more pipes and bits and pieces to try and filter out the contents from this and get our frames in there and stuff. So I'll see you in just a second. Alrighty, I think I know what we're going to be doing now. So first of all, just before we get started on automating those, I found a little bit of a problem down here, and that was with the servo. So I've actually had to upgrade the servo to the top tier one. When I was using a lesser servo, it was only sort of putting seeds into the first 2 or 3 of these. So I needed the fastest servo I can. As you can see, it's firing those down all the way to the end now, to this one. So what I found with the slower servos, it just wouldn't get past this third one at all, and that was even with a resonant servo, I think. So oh sorry, no, that's a resonance, and the one below that, whatever the one below that is, Electrum one or the Signal one, whichever one it was. But anyway, that one there, the resonant one, it seems to be firing stuff along just fine, which means we should be able to even expand those squeezes out more. Bit of an unexpected problem there. Alright, now back to this. So what we've got is we've got the matching container here that has all of our impregnated frames. These guys actually have frames in them already. That's already, yep, that's stacking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run them separately. So to keep the frames separate, I'm going to do that. And that's going to be our frame bit across the back. So we'll turn that on in a second. To do the item ducts, we're going to have the stuff grabbing out of the bottom. That's I'm going to need another servo. Let's just grab some just in case. Now I also wanted to grab some filters this time around as well. Impulse item ducts. I'm going to need. Wow, I've got tons of those. That's awesome. I love it when I'm prepared like that. Oh, we've even got some frames. Yeah, there's 4 frames waiting to go. Awesome. Cool. So we have, I don't need that chest, but we do need a servo for there. The item duct needs to come back up and go back in. Now, we kind of want filters on those because I really want to make sure that the wrong bees don't go on the wrong side. So let's put filters on each of those. This is now, what have we set to? Blacklist? No, let's go whitelist. So if we set it to whitelist, and then we'll grab one of those and one of those, and we'll say we want only those to go in there, and we'll set them going. Now this one, we're going to want our Imperials. So we want whitelist, Imperial, Imperial, and put those back in. Now we'll test this because this Imperial drone will get sucked out of there when we turn it on down the bottom. We're also going to need to join these up and then have it run down the back somewhere. Now how do I want to do that? Do I want to do it across the top or underneath? Maybe underneath. Maybe. maybe. Alright, so let's grab some of these guys and go there. And there, and cool. Now we got in 1, 2, 3. Let's go for there. Just do this so that we can see where we're going. Not quite right. That one. No. Oh wow. It is that one. Cool. Alright, so awesome. Now we'll grab that there. We'll just throw that there. Cool. Now, there is where the middle is. Well, that's where our lovely thing is. So, now we don't need any of this anymore. Cool. Now, this is going to come down. Now, we're only going to use... I'm just going to go like this for now, and so we'll go, look, filter for there. We're going to have... I might make another couple of chests for things. So this is going to be for the combs. So we're going to put the combs into there. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually get rid of that altogether. And we'll make a hopper. Because there's two different sorts of combs there, and that can actually really gum things up. So we're going to need to make some chests as well. So we want one for the hopper. That was a weird noise. Ghasts. I think Sneddo's online and he's got a ghast spawner now. Alright, so we're going to have one for royal jelly, one for the pollen, and one for the hopper. So we're going to need some iron plates. So let's grab 16 of those, because that'll be these two. Actually, while that is happening, I haven't got gold plates in there. That's interesting. I'm going to need to manually do that. So we'll make them. I'll just make them iron ones for now. I can upgrade them later on pretty easily. So let's grab a hopper. Let's grab our plates. 16 of those. Yep, definitely ghasts. Cool. All right, so we're going to have these. They're just going to be down here for now. So we'll have, I don't know, we'll put one there and one there. Impulse item duct. Now, are these able to be? Yep, they're able to be open with that on top. We'll have the hopper there and the item duct like that. Now, I think that's all that these can produce. No, we're going to actually need another one. So we're going to need one for the extra drones that eventually come out of this. So we'll have a filter there, a filter there. We'll have a filter there so drones don't go in there. And what we'll do is we'll grab some of each of this stuff. So we're going to need to have, let's grab some pollen. Oh, I've got some raw jelly already. We're going to need some of those combs, some of those combs. Now I'm leaving some in there just so that we can test how this thing actually works. So we're going to have, oops, we're going to have whitelist, that comb, and that comb, and we'll just throw those in there for now. We're going to have whitelist and have royal jelly, whitelist and pollen. So the pollen can go in there, the royal jelly can go in there, and now we should just need to hook this up. Oh, he's really going crazy on the ghasts. Cool, so that is now all hooked up. I'm also going to need the bit for the drones, the bit for the extra drones. So, alright, let's just set these going first of all. Let's just make sure, because the drones aren't going to fill up for a while yet. So let's grab that under there and set it to go. Yeah, it's drained everything out. Oh, look at that. The thing up at the top. We'll set that one to go. Those come out, those come out. The drone comes out, the drone goes back up and into there. Cool. Now down here we should see some stringy combs. Bunch of stringy combs. Oh, there's some more coming in. Cool. And down here we should have, yep, there's a lot of pollen and way more royal jelly. Awesome, so everything is working pretty well. Pretty well indeed. Cool, so I actually think I'm going to end this episode here because this is a pretty big piece of automation to get all this sort of stuff going. The one bit I haven't done yet, we haven't turned this on. Now what will happen is once those get used up, it should just pull straight from that ender chest. It's just asleep. That must be really close to where I am. It must be just through there somewhere. Yeah, so once one of these frames come out, it'll well, let's do it. Pull one out. Yeah, and it puts one straight back in. Let's put that one back in. Cool. Ha, and I beat it to it. So yeah, that's how long it takes those 8 sticks to craft. So all right, awesome. So we've got frames automated. These things are going to be running and just looping through and looping through and looping through, producing ourselves a bunch of pollen and royal jelly. We're going to end up hopefully with a couple of chests full of that stuff down here. And the reason we're using it is all for these Alveary blocks, which take these scented panels, which we need honey, pollen cluster, and raw jelly. So because of the squeezer, what we're actually getting out the other side of here is we're getting a ton of this honey drops as well. So what I will end up doing is we'll probably rejig how the honey comes out the back of here, throw it in some more squeezers, and we'll get those panels being made. But I think I'll leave the Alveary for next time, just because that's going to be a pretty big topic in itself. So that is a pretty good build, another one I'm pretty happy with. So as always, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.